I'd say that almost everybody thinks of messaging around, the product and the features, right? It's what the product does and the features of it, and everybody's very proud of that. And this is just, if you think about who's been building these businesses, they're most likely product guys. They're entrepreneurs that found a problem in the marketplace, and they're coming out, and they live and breathe the features of their product, and they're very excited about that. Unfortunately, no one cares about features as much as the owners do. What people really care about is solving problems that they have. So one of the things that I think is important when you're coming to market with a solution is to pull away from the features and focus more on the results of what the product does. And so we come in with more of a kind of a claim, if you will, a claim that speaks to a specific audience. And if you come out with a very large claim, and when I say a claim, it's, you're speaking to that the product is providing a solution to a specific industry, and that those users have received this sort of result from it, and it's a very positive result. Come out with that. That's the messaging. You should be speaking to what the solution to the problems that the software is providing. When you're coming out with product and features, there's a challenge there. And so the challenge is that you got these users that are seeing this ad, and if you're coming out with all these features, but they don't yet know who you are, but they're seeing the ad for the first time, and they see how you're coming out with these features, you're asking them to, one, understand who you are, and then try to understand what those features are. And typically, you're probably going to be, the business is probably promoting those features using nomenclature and verbiage from the industry. And so the audience may not be fully appreciating what those features are or the pain points that they solve. So you're asking too much of them in the ad. But if you come out with a simple claim that your solution provides XYZ results to a certain problem, that's something they could get their hands around very quickly. And in this day and age of where you only have a few seconds to capture their attention, if that anymore, that's where you want to be. Now you allow your site to kind of handle a little bit more of the heavy lifting, but you want to stay on topic or on focus on point with the claim. So when you bring users back to your site, the site doesn't really have to go into details about all the features yet. You're still speaking to that claim. I think features, Alex, should come in later, right? It's when they've already started to express more interest and try to understand your business and try to understand what the software is all about. But you haven't planted in their head yet a desire to want a solution or solve this problem. And that's what we need to do first. You need to plant that ahead of time. Then the sale becomes a lot more easier.
Yeah, so it sounds like we're trying to find the right hook, which is like the claim, but that hook has to be backed by proof, right? Like proof, because a claim, there are millions of horrible claims on the internet. We're the number one in this industry. We're the number one here. We're this one there. A claim is it seems like it is linked to a benefit or a solution to a problem that the target buyer is facing, right? So that's the problem that we've identified. That is the biggest problem that the solution solves. And this is the claim of how we can solve it, but it's kind of got to be backed by some proof, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And this is where you want to be very niche focused, right? So your claim for one industry, your SaaS company, and you could sell it to a number of different industries. Your claim for healthcare and the medical industry may be different than to financial services, right? The claim may be different. It may be something that's unique, that speaks to that specific industry and that persona. But if you, and that's the work, right? Is figuring out what is the claim that's going to be most attractive to that industry. And then you play with those claims, and it could take you a while to get the claim right, but you play with it. And then, yeah.
Well, then so we're talking about the audience, or it's the industry, it's a specific position inside of a company that's within that industry, and then it's understanding their problems, and then it's kind of creating a hook or a claim that is backed by proof that can speak to them, right? Now that's now just the core of the messaging, right? How does now content fit into that? And what are some of the challenges that SaaS founders have when they start to think about what content they should start to produce?
Sure. I think it's important for us to understand what content is. And when we are in this discussion, we talk about content because content has been so prevalent in the industry for so long. There may be some confusion with content being SEO content that drives organic versus content that is really consumable and helps drive people through the funnel. And that's really what we're talking about, right? We're not talking about organic SEO content that's written for the purpose of driving traffic. You get to that later. Once you have your hook, you know your audiences, and your site is converting, you get to organic SEO content. What we're talking about is content that is written for users based upon where they are in the funnel. So if they're in the learning phase, if they're still or the discovery phase, then your content needs to be written to them in a meaningful way that's going to discuss and address the challenges that their businesses are having, or the industries are having, or things that other companies are doing, just at a very high level. And you could be quick with that sort of content. It doesn't need to be long form, very in depth, because they're not ready for that. What you're trying to do is you're trying to capture that audience at a high level and bring them into your funnel, put them into these buckets where you could then push out more engaging content. But there's things that there is specific type of content that you could use that that you could go to, such as creating these podcasts, creating other videos, creating webinars, and then you can move towards actual physical written content, longer form content, such as case studies and white papers, 10x pieces. Those are all good things that would be consumed by your audience. The question is what content should be written all content should be written based upon where they are in the funnel for you. And that's that's something that a thoughtful strategy will help you uncover